We're back with more Speak Out with Missy Crutchfield on WUUQ 97.3 and 99.3 FM. Here's your host, Missy Crutchfield.
Welcome back to Speak Out. In the studio with me right now, I've been telling everyone that a very dear friend of mine, we have this ongoing sort of
Sister.
Yes, sisters. And Frances is one of my sisters, Frances McDonald. Frances, let me back up a little bit for those that don't know you, and so many people know you, love you, admire you, your work, particularly the latest piece on Main Street, the sort of pyramid with tiles that had to do a lot with the homeless, and then your years before working with children and murals, and the I'm a Citizenship campaign through EAC. This month is I Dream, and you have the things that you put on the building on Georgia Avenue that are the mouths that say, I this, I that, the I am statements. And I Dream is one of those. But years ago it started with you as an artist, and now it's culminated in you creating a nonprofit, Mark Making. Let's go back and tell me what started it all with you, your passion, how you took ownership of your life and your art and your work and brought you where you are.
Yeah, so once upon a time, being my dad's girl, I went and got a background in business, and I finished with an international business administration degree from George Washington University. At the same time, I was taking art, and so I finished, and I said, I think I'll be able to paint pictures for a little while and see if I can make a go at this as an artist professionally. So I was over in Paris already, so I stayed over there, went to the École Nationale Supérieure des Beaux-Arts.
Folks, if you didn't understand that, there's a reason that was in Paris. That wasn't French, in Paris. You speak Parisian.
Exactly. And so I was there for several years, became a professional painter, moved back to New York, had an affiliation with the Allen Stone Gallery there, was doing Bang Busters and ran into some major health issues and landed myself back in Chattanooga. And it was kind of like the moment when Dorothy lands in Oz and she comes out of her little house and it's like, Toto, we're not in Kansas anymore. And that's how I felt like coming back to Chattanooga.
Me too.
I grew up here. And it was awful. I left in 1976, and it was the most awful place on the planet. And Al Gore had declared us the nastiest air on the planet. And
1969, Walter Cronkite named us the dirtiest city in America.
Yeah, so that is the place that you and me left.
You've used your art and you facilitated with kids, at-risk schools, disenfranchised adults. You've worked with AIM Center folks. You've worked with the homeless, and the homeless and self-portraits. That just blew me away when you did that project.
That was a while back, and that was great. I had a contact with a community kitchen. I forgot how that came about, but that was the first time I'd worked with Brother Ron Fender. And we said, okay, we're just going to work with our VIPs, what they call the VIPs, which were homeless people who were in the AA program, and came in, and we said, okay, let's do something wild. So we decided to do self-portraits. I'm really into doing self-portraits because it's very empowering. You get what is you and put it separate and outside of yourself, and you can look at that, and it's something that you can be proud of. And it's also a way of making a mark. Wherever you put that portrait, that is you in a different place, and it's a way of imprinting yourself in other places in the city. And in this case, the images were portable, so it was your imprinted self. I'm being funny here.
Right.
Traveling around to the city. So we did these different self-portraits, and
with children. And you had the van. Almost reminded you of one of those hippie vans in the 60s that were all peace signs.
Yeah, we've now done 4 painted vans total.
But you talk about, making Mark Making, and that's your nonprofit is called Mark Making. So
exactly.
You've culminated all of your work, your passion, your outreach, and really taken ownership. Creating your own nonprofit didn't leave you sort of vulnerable to whether you get this grant or not, or somebody wakes up and really feels it for your work,
just to
or
back
somebody
up
else's.
a little bit, when I came back, and I didn't so much want to be a painter anymore. I didn't know what I wanted to do because I'd just gone through this huge crisis on many levels. Came back, started working in the Creative Discovery Museum, started teaching a lot, and then I started noticing that children really make better art than 90% of the adults, and I would even say better than most professional painters. So I started thinking, okay, how can we get this work out here? What can we do to make this happen? And along came a project. It was the Central Block Building. We put 130 kids in the street painting. And we did this amazing painting. It was all because the city was involved at the time, and they wanted to paint this entire building like thousands of square feet for $1,500. So there were 3 of us that said, we'll do it. And then, of course, I was the one that said, we can't do it. It's too big. Even if we roll it, it's too big. So let's get kids to do this work. So we created this program, and I got hooked. I just thought, this is a way to do things. And those were self-portraits, too. But this is how you use the talent of the kids and you enfranchise the kids to make the city a more beautiful place and work with other nonprofits and do it for very little money. Well, that got a ball rolling, and I started doing this and did this for about 10 years using grant opportunities and different ways of putting together, mostly children, but also people who are normally not considered artists. We put together these programs where we did this. This got to be a calling for me, like totally a calling, and it's where I could use everything I knew about art, everything I knew about business, and work with a lot of different people to create public art projects. So thus mark making was formed. And it is. It's about making your mark on your city. Nobody does what mark making does. I mean, there are some nonprofits out there working with kids that what I see more of is people using kids as like slave labor to fill in some blanks. Like, I'm going to draw this thing, and then you're going to have some kids that paint in the lines that I made. Well, I find that, frankly, pretty insulting. Like, your lines aren't good enough, so somebody else has to do it. So the kind of combo that we've got between beautifying public spaces, enfranchising the kids, using art that I think is better than a lot of professional painters, and creating job opportunities for local artists, putting all that together, we really haven't found that anywhere else. It's really something that emerged. We made it up, and guess what? It's working. We've been in business a year now. We've done some formidable work.
And you're getting high acclaim, and you've got a wonderful board. I was on your board. I was so proud to be part of it.
We have a killer board. I love our board.
Yes, and the work when you drive across bridges and look around town and look up toward the sky and see this wonderful stuff, the mouths on this building off Georgia Avenue, and any number of things. The pyramid with tiles that really, really have voices from folks who have just been so downtrodden.
Well, and two, I got to put in here, we're really, the whole situation is extremely blessed. It's totally blessed.
Because your heart is in the right place. We've got just a minute left. I want to say that I am so proud of what you do and what you do in the community, and for your work in partnership together with EAC, my department, and through Unbroken. It's a way, the things that you do under an Unbroken umbrella that has been part of that. It's just a way for us to spotlight what you do, your unique purpose, your organization. I also know that you've just had another event in your life that has been a tremendous loss of your mother, and looking at what you did coming back out of your pain and out of your awareness and created all of this. I just wanted to tell you that my heart is with you, and I see this other level of person awakening, and you had just shared stories of people that were talking about how much your mother had meant to them, and the way that she had connected.
Well, and I need to jump in here, too. I just want to say that when bad things happen in your life, you can have cancer, you can have a mental disorder, your mom can die. I mean, everybody's got these bad things that can happen, but if you're really thinking on your feet and you're being a creative person, then that means that you're open-minded and you're open to the good things that come out of all these bad things. I would not be the person I am today if all of these so-called bad things hadn't happened to me. I consider each and every one a blessing. And the recent passing of my mother is giving me enormous insights about gratitude, about how blessed we are to be alive, how each and every one of us has a place on the planet, and all of these things go together to make things function. And I'm absolutely sure that this is part of my path to being a better artist and as the leader of mark making. I mean, all of this goes together.
Well, we love you, and we are blessed to have had you work with us. And you are living and being the change that you're seeing and wishing to be in the world. It's happening. You're that. You embody that. And I'm so glad that you are my sister.
Me too.
Thank you.